Hi there, this is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, and welcome to another random review. Today's random review is Coach to Vienna by Karol Kachnia. That won't be his proper name pronounced. This is from 1966, and it's part of the Czech New Wave. This is a second run release, and it's a multi-region release. This is a pretty simple film as far as the story goes, but it is rather excellent. It's unexpectedly moving, it's brutal, and it didn't please the authorities when it came out, but I'll get into the reasons for that. First of all, it's a black and white film, and if you like black and white cinematography that is stunning, you should go buy Coach to Vienna immediately. For me, second run have a very high batting average as far as the films that I've bought from them. Even the ones that I don't like as much are still good films. They're just not as jaw-droppingly amazing as some of the other second run titles I have. So my basic rule of buying second run titles is if they get below a certain threshold of price, I'm just going to buy them regardless. And once again, I wasn't disappointed. So we open up in the forest, a very atmospheric forest. This is a film where the location becomes a character. It's right up there with the best cinematic forests. It has that Throne of Blood, Burnham Wood spookiness because it's got lots of fog, and it literally is a maze, and it literally is a trap. So we open with these tracking shots of the forest, and then we get this classical music score which is intermittent throughout the film, which again lends to the kind of aura and atmosphere of the film. We get an opening screed, which I'm not necessarily a fan of, but I think it kind of works in this film because one of the main characters doesn't actually talk that much. So we meet this woman who is in charge of the horse and the cart, and her husband was hanged by the Nazis for stealing a couple of bags of cement. And the morning that she buries her husband, two other German soldiers take her at gunpoint and ask her to give them a coach ride to Vienna. Not as glamorous as it sounds. And the screed just says she's going to try and take her revenge. So these aren't the soldiers that hung her husband. These are different German soldiers as far as I'm aware. So we have a younger soldier, very fresh-faced, who just wants to go home to his mum in Austria. He's not actually German, he's from Austria. And we have an older, not that much older, but certainly in his 30s, maybe even his 40s, soldier who's wounded, and he's lying in the back of the cart. And it basically just tells the story of the three of these characters as they try and get out of this forest into Austria. Now that might not sound very interesting, but it is. For a start, like I say, the cinematography is absolutely gorgeous. There's lots of moments where, if you love that cinematography, you will be drooling. Like I say, the woman does not speak that much, but there's a lot of eye movement, and at times she actually looks at the camera, not for long periods, not like complete fourth wall breaking, but there's glances directly at the viewer, almost as if she's asking, will I do this? Will I not do this? So there's a rifle that the soldiers have, there's a pistol, there's a knife, there's something in the cart as well, which is always, and all these items are beautifully framed and shot. So their importance is kind of emphasised without, like, doing mad zooms into them. They're really well framed by Kachnia. And there's real suspense when you think, and again at times she looks at the camera, it's like, will I do this? Will I not do this? Will I get away with this? If I do this, am I going to get away with it? Or is everything going to kick off? The film was banned at the time because the German soldiers, even though one of them was born in Austria, they're not portrayed as one-dimensional monsters. They're not shown as like cartoon character Nazis. Like I say, this young guy who's pretty much a kid just wants to go home to his mum and his brother. He shows the women pictures of where his family live. But obviously she just saw her husband get hanged by some Nazis, so she has other things on her mind. Again, I'm not going to go too much into what happens along the way, but it is a road movie in a sense. And again, it just has this oppressive, dreamlike, atmospheric journey with no escape. And again, in the end, it's actually quite moving when you don't really expect it to be, and it certainly is tough and realistic at times as well. So I mean, this is going to be a fairly short review, but that doesn't mean the film isn't excellent, because it is. It's just, I'm not going to go into every little detail of what happens as the character dynamics change, not to an extreme level, but they do kind of change, even though the three characters speak different languages, they do kind of understand each other's general gist of what they're after. And it is another wonderful second run release. The extras are okay, I would say, but not great compared to perhaps other second run releases. There's Karol Czachnik's rediscovered stage documentary graduation film from 1949, It's Not Always Cloudy, which is okay. And there's a projection booth audio commentary with Mike White, Sam Dane, and Kat Ellinger. Obviously, Kat Ellinger is always worth listening to, but the extras aren't amazing, but the film is kind of worth it. And again, you do get a booklet with second run releases. So that's Coach to Vienna. Again, don't let the fact that this review is not very long put you off. It is just it's one of those beautiful, horrible little films. An atmospheric, almost trance-like atmosphere, and real suspense. Because as an audience, you obviously start off with this woman's husband's been hung by Germans. Here's some Germans. Oh, let's hope she goes, full revenge on their asses. But obviously, the human being in us might think differently, and that's probably why the film got into trouble when it came out in 1966, because it's not a black and white, easy answer film, but it is a very, very good one. So thanks very much for watching this random review of Coach to Vienna. Please let me know in the comments if you've seen it before, what you thought of it, and hopefully you'll join me again for more random reviews. This is Solid Ronan from Solid Ronan Films saying farewell.